We are live. Equal Time's back. This is the championship.
What's up, everybody?
USLW championship final in beautiful Eagan, Minnesota, Dani. I don't even know if Dani knew we're in Eagan. Have you heard of Eagan before?
I've heard of it. I knew we were here. Yes.
Well, shout out to Eagan for all the shine they're getting for this Aurora team.
That's absolutely right. You know, I actually knew, I double checked on we were in Eagan because I had to look up the weather for tonight.
Okay.
And it seems to be holding out, so.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not hot. The only thing is, like, there's little gusts of wind, and it's an east-west stadium to get granular, so you get moments. So we'll see if there's little moments of that. But want to start off by first saying thank you. This is the last game we'll get to do. We didn't know how many we get to do once we got into the playoffs. So thank you to everyone who's watched it. I was out at the tailgate, Dani, and so I'll share the love to you I got from the Hanson and Preston parents from South Dakota State. They seem to run into me all the time. And I met the Raps dad over there. So you can tell because of the personalized jerseys.
Yeah.
You can usually be like, "Are you?" Yeah.
You're somebody's parent.
And you might agree when I told someone else it made me feel old to meet these players' parents because I'm like, well, we're kind of the same. We're not that far out the same.
That's okay. That's okay.
Awesome. And thank you to Dani. This has been such a fun thing. I'm sure you feel the same way. Like for us too, like just that we get to do this, following this team. What a blast it's been this year.
It has been such a journey to watch it from the beginning where, to be honest, I don't know what any of us expected, you know, to see everybody come out almost, I think it was a sold out home opener, close to see that the crowd like really rallying, the community rallying behind this team, for us to be able to follow it and see it all the way through. And to be honest, it's been like a steady buildup. I don't really feel like there's been many, dips in the season, which has been such a pleasure to watch. And now I feel like we're at the ultimate high. So it's been fun, and thank you for everybody who's watched, and thank you for everybody who's come on the show too. That's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been a blast. That makes me feel very fortunate to get to meet all these amazing people in the soccer world. And we're coming off, like you said, it's really just built on confidence, game after game. They won last game, it was tense in the end, 1-0, and another goal by Morgan Turner. What are your memories from last game? Because there was a level of nerves for me that was new in the second half.
Yeah, it was. But I think, for me, as when I was playing and there was those really tense games, it was all of the work that you'd done up to it that made me feel extra confident in those moments. Like the fight is the fun part of a game. It's not that fun to go into a game that you just blow out people. I mean, it's fun because you score goals, maybe you get creative, but the fun games are really ones that are like fighters, nail biters that you pull yourself out of. So I think probably the last game was probably one of their funnest games that they've had, and you can see it just in their confidence, the way they wore themselves. The goals, both the goals were amazing. Yeah. So I think they both have gone viral at this point.
Yeah, unbelievable. It was and the one thing I like about today, talking about the home field advantage, how confident the team is, they open the gates earlier. So the teams warm up at an hour before kickoff, and normally they open the gates at that time. And so by the time they're kind of done warming up, it's not intimidating. So when the team came out and I saw Tormenta walk out, there was already, maybe 500 or 1,000 fans in here. And so I really like that because that's a real thing that matters. So, I mean, think about, in your past experiences going in through a run, we've talked about, everybody knows at this point about the 2013 NWS Cup, if they watch it, NWSL Cup, but just talk about your experience coming into a game like this where you're feeling confident because at this point no one's been able to beat them, and they've shown they can win games in any way. How do you draw on, in terms of your memories of going into games like this? What do you think the players are thinking?
I actually find a lot of parallels to this season and the NWSL 2013 season. Both were inaugural seasons. Nobody really knew what to expect from the crowd, from the teams, from the support, what the resources are going to be like, all of the above, it was new to everybody. And it was like a restructuring of that season, right? Like the league came across differently, and USLW League has done the same for this league. So the fact that they were opening it up earlier really reminded me of the first game at Portland Thorns Stadium, where you walk in, even as warm-ups, you already have people that are chanting, calling your name. They have little inside jokes with players, because you can hear people right now, before the game gets really intense, before music gets loud, before you start to zone in. so you can hear things. So the fans, it's a different experience and brings a lot more fun and like atmosphere right from the get go. It kind of levels up even the warm up.
Yeah.
And that brings something else. So almost at when you go in for your like pregame talk, you almost have to like calm yourself back down, So I'm sure that all of these girls are feeling that, and it's probably for a lot of them the first time that they've been in an atmosphere like this, where it feels like a high stakes game. You have the atmosphere behind you. You have a whole season of preparation under your belt, and now it's like the game. So I'm super excited for them.
Yeah, and so it's a huge game, and also some context for what the broader world of these players, that many of them are going back as leaders and standouts on their college teams. Just I went, another thing I got from the tailgate, this real journalism I'm doing out here in the parking lot, but talking to Maya Hansen and Rachel Preston's parents, the South Dakota State Stars, they have to report, Dani, tomorrow at 12:30 p.m.
Wow.
So hopefully that means they're celebrating
the
waking up
ultimate
early.
turnaround.
Gotta wake up. So Brookings, South Dakota is 3.5 hours away. So these women are going to win a final, wake up, drive back to college, report.
Gosh, some sore legs running into tomorrow.
To say the least. So some others might be catching flight. So but I mean, I have no doubt they're fully focused on this one. It was fun to just watch like the hype videos and stuff coming out before.
Yeah,
like it's a real,
It
on Instagram.
was really cool to see. Just there's the amount of attention that all of these girls are getting, that the fans are getting here, the club is getting, both clubs really, shout out to them as well. Tormenta, it's been really cool to see. I think that right now these girls for sure are focusing on tonight, because I think probably a few weeks ago maybe their mind would have been a little different. Like, okay, we're going back to school soon. I need to stay sharp. Who knows how the end of the season is going to go? But when you get to this point of the season, you're in this kind of championship game. Mind is here, and then tomorrow starts, which is crazy. A whole new season. It's like a different life. You shut off one and you go to a different one.
Well, and it is really tangible to them, I can say, because we had some media availability we posted on Twitter and Instagram with Coach Nicole Lukic and some of the standout players. And the trophy was there. So they were doing it here on the sideline, and the trophy was sitting there for them. So I wasn't there. I didn't get to see that, but that would make it real. And it's a nice trophy.
It is a nice trophy. If you saw my Instagram stories yesterday, I gotta shout out on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Talk about
shiny.
That. Yeah, Dani. Look, this is the pre-professionalism is becoming professional because Dani had a gig last night at the USLW League.
I did.
Talk about that, Dani.
Yeah, I got to host the league is now doing. I think they do it on the men's side too, but the home team hosts a banquet, like a championship banquet dinner for both teams. They went over some highlights of both teams, like moments on social media, which was really fun to see because both teams have had some really fun, clever social media moments, and that's now how fans really get to interact at this level. But they really made it feel like pre-professional is now the standard for even like. What used to be as the professional level standard is now the pre-professional level standard, and that is really exciting to see. Yeah,
well, cool. I'm glad you got to be a part of that, and it has been fun. There's so many. This press box, it probably sounds a little different because there are so many people from the league here. As I speak about my life being too insular, last night when I was bartending, all the people came after the banquet to some of the league people to drink at the bar.
Talk about a professional here.
And right after this game, you'll find me at the Blackie. You can find me there if you want to talk about the game in a loud karaoke lounge in the back of Blackhart. But no, it is a fun. It is a fun community, and by the way, it is a cool thing to work there because people come in and I wear an Aurora hat like that Dani's wearing, and I get to meet fans of the team, so it is really cool. Like fans who couldn't get tickets because it was sold out. They're like, "Is it going to be on in the bar? Can we watch it on Saturday?" And I said, well, bring your computer and try and plug it in, do your best. But I want to ask you about playoff confidence, Dani, because so when you first come into playoffs, like you said, you kind of don't know what to expect if you're going to get another game or it means the next day you're going home. Now they're in the rhythm and they have this confidence. Does it almost take you might think it's the final, this is the most nervous you'd be, it's the most pressure you're under. But does it take some pressure off that they've already achieved so much, they've already, come together and proven so many things on and off the field? Like, does it, you obviously want to win, but is there something of we got this? We're here, and the biggest games are we already played. And
Yeah.
we've earned it.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think soccer is such a beautiful game, and the fact that every game brings something different. So I'm sure that the mentality going into even, the first game, the semifinal game, in this game, they've been a little bit different because they have to focus on different things for who they're playing. And those things bring different types of confidence. You can see the last game, as we talked about, was I feel like the first time that they've really been challenged. And I think that they probably knew that going into it. They rose to the occasion. They were able to come out on top, which now I feel like they're coming off of that kind of a, like, we did that, now we can do this again, which I think is a really good thing. Like, it was good to be challenged before coming into this game.
Yeah.
Having said that, I don't really feel like it's probably a relief.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the feeling that they feel that they're here. It feels probably really good that they made it here, but until the game's over, I'm sure that mentality of like wanting to win is not going to change. And knowing like, okay, these are the things that we need to prep for this game. This is what this team is good at. This is what this team brings. And here's how we need to come out. Here's what we need to bring. All of those things are probably top of mind. So I don't know if that is like, totally answers your question, but I don't feel like it is ever okay, we made it, we did this, we got this kind of a thing. It's like, we need to do this today. We still need to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it can't, it's, we joke in the press, I don't work for a newspaper. We're fans of this team too. So it is like, as a fan, you're like, God, it feels like it should end that way, but because so many things have gone right, part of it is, and we've talked about the resource in the team, the money that the team raised ahead of time, the fact that they're selling merchandise, and that funds things for this team. And part of it is a really full coaching staff that have the time to take to devote to this team. So that shows in the top of that ranking with Nicole Lukic being UWSL W League Coach of the Year. Who else would it be if she's undefeated?
Yeah.
But of course, she, in all of her posts about it and everything else, she credited, Jen, and their whole coaching staff. So talk about, if you're the coach coming into the final, you've been a coach before. They know they're confident in this team, but when you're doing, I want to ask about like pregame talks. Because we love to see it in a movie. We love to see like we get candid ones sometimes now in football where it's like a coach in the locker room, and like Jesse Marsh had a really viral one in German and English.
Yeah.
I'm curious to you as a coach, like how much, and as a player, how much value do you have to put into it? Like, how much does it make you think more about it? How much do you want to try to inspire specifically when it's like, it's your moment? It's like a movie moment.
Yeah, such a good question. Well, I will ask you to start with this really fast. So in my second season when I was playing in NWSL was with the OL Reign, or at the time it was the Seattle Reign, and we had an undefeated season going into the championship game. We not even tied a game.
Yeah.
We won every single game.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure. I don't think we had a tie. And and we were going into the championship game, and we ended up losing. It was the only game we lost that season.
Yeah.
And so I feel like even that, we were so confident going into it.
Yeah.
But that, again, it goes back to like, that's what the beauty of soccer is. And that leads me into what, because every game is going to bring something new. And that leads me into, answer your question, what the coaches say. It's not just the coaches that have something inspiring to say before games. Usually the captain will come up and say something, like Megan Klingenberg on the Thorns U.S. national team player. She always has something really inspiring, and almost the coaches lean more on her doing that to like prep the team, because that's coming from one of their own. And it's usually like the timing of that is really like right before the game, like gets them hyped up. Let's get them going. Whereas the coaches' idea, they're a lot of times more, don't forget to do these things. Like, let's keep our minds on our heads on our shoulders. We need to focus on defense. We need to focus on getting the ball wide, whatever it is, So I feel like a lot of times the coaches are more tactical, keep you on the ground, and then you have your player, your players, your leaders, who are going to be the ones who are like hyping you up a little bit more. Yeah,
it's a good point. And it definitely, we've seen that. I mean, you could definitely see that with the culture of this team, because there's been these big veteran moments in the playoff run all year. But of course, it's like Sarah Fuller in a lot of the regular season games, she would be challenged once, she'd be challenged twice, or maybe it'd be, a bit gunky sometimes. But even, we only gave up like how many goals in the regular season, and 2, I think, might have been to Taylor Kane. So Sarah had stepped up when she's needed to. Kenzie Langdock, Morgan Turner.
And you can also see that Nicole is giving them a lot of freedom to do that. Even in the way, I mean, it's silly, but when we've talked about it, even the way that they celebrate their goals, that is their freedom. Like, she's giving them the freedom to do that, to express themselves as players, to express themselves as a team, which I love to see. Like, that's, you know, that's great. I think it's making the team be a little bit more creative. It's creating a bond, all that stuff. But I'm guaranteeing that she's also encouraging the leaders to step into that role and be the ones who are kind of hyping everybody up or calming it down if needed. You know?
Yeah. If there's players who you think are hesitant or who are anxious, we know they have the players to settle them down. Shout out to the Equal Time founder, Big Dog, Matt Privratsky over there. Hey, Big Dog.
Doing clerical work.
He's doing his work. He's pre-professional as well. I don't think he's getting paid for this. So, but let's talk about the rotations a little bit. Look. We'll talk about the rotations a little bit. Not a lot, obviously, because there's a lot of consistency in the lineup today. So we see the same back line. Abby Ostrom, who came in at outside back to start after it's pretty continuously been Eli Rapp for a lot of the start. But Abby, you could tell one of the things in last game, which you knew it might be tense, you're playing a team that had won 8-0, and I don't know if that affected the coaching staff choice to put a more defensive outside back in, because Abby really held back. She stuck in, and there were a lot of late chances from McLean, but they kept a clean sheet. So, I mean, clearly she earned her start again today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's what's going to be really interesting is, this team, I think, is going to bring something totally different than what Aurora has seen so far. So I think that, I just think it'll put a little bit more on their heels at some points in the game. And they're going to have to adjust to that. And I think it's something that, even though they've been, challenged, I don't think they've been as, put on their heels as much. So we'll see how they adjust to this.
Yeah. Well, and also credit to them, they haven't had to, in part because they won enough games that they're playing these important games at home, which obviously makes a difference.
Yeah.
Here, I want to ask too, just because you've been around a lot of big soccer players, who else? But Klingenberg is one of those who, she's not the superstar of a team, but she's the heart and soul. Although the header off the post, if you have not seen the Klingenberg save, because she's the shortest player, jumps up,
She's
come on.
Like 5'2".
One big cleats. But I mean, so she's a person that's easy to root for. But in your experiences too, what other players or maybe it's a coach like have been a value to you before a game like that, where it's like they maybe you were nervous and they turned to you, or it's like they gave you, they said you're gonna do it. Who are some people who've done that?
Christine Sinclair, without a doubt, she is the GOAT. And again, even though everybody knows her name and she is the GOAT, she is definitely not the flashiest player out there. She's like your consistent, she's the player that's always going to get it done. She is, she's very blue collar. She's always going to be your consistent player. And so when you're looking, when any team is looking what to do, she's going to be the player to look to. And so she was definitely that for me. I think Jess Fishlock was another one, although she was a little bit more of the flashy side, and she always was loud. She always told you what she wanted out of you. She was somebody that also could really dig it out of you, I would say. Keelan Winters was another one. She was the captain of the Reign for a long time and now with the national team. And she was always kind of another blue collar worker. So maybe that's the consistent note here is blue collar workers that are always going to do it. They're your solid players, usually in the middle of the field, who are going to hold it down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun we've seen at times too. I'd have to go back and look, but sometimes I think it's maybe Brent on the Aurora team, we've gotten bits in the huddle where it's them doing their kind of yells before, and maybe we'll get that today because it is cool to see, and it's cool to see. Nicole Lukic doesn't need to yell. She presents. She has an energy, a calm, confident strength about her, which is amazing.
Yeah, she does, and she's not. She's one if you look at the players, she's another one just shortest amongst a lot of players.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
She kind of blends right in. She'd be a player herself.
She wasn't given anything. She had to fight for it all. So today, just refresh on who we do have in the lineup today. We're facing Tormenta FC. They won the South Division for the W League. They beat the Greenville Liberty, who another close regional opponent. in the semis 4-1. They have the Player of the Year, Amy Andrews, who she's familiar to some of the players on our team, the St. Thomas players, the South Dakota State, South Dakota players. So that's a lot of our defenders in my hands. So they would have played against her in the Summit League because she plays at Western Illinois, or did. So she had 16 regular season goals. She was the Player of the Year. She was a Golden Boot winner.
Yeah.
But they faced players who had 10 when they faced Indy 11. They had 2 players who had double-digit goals. They didn't score.
Yeah.
So it's just another challenge for the Aurora defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Their focus is going to be 100% on her.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that Tormenta is probably trying to build ways that they can get her the ball by not going directly or right into her over the top. They're trying to pull people out
Mhm.
and then try to get find her kind of on the end of it, which I think will be really interesting to see. It'll be a really difficult match, I think, for both sides.
And the promo, the USLs are making great content to promo the match, and then the one promo kind of poster image. They have Morgan Turner kind of making a sheepish, oh, did I just score a goal? I think, or something. And then Sarah Fuller absolutely screaming, I think, in a defensive adjustment or something. And it just reminded of her multiple times last game, flying through the box for balls. Sarah is 6'2". It is no joke to see a keeper of that, skill and quality to come flying at you. So she'll hope to, she'll be one of the people hoping to keep it. And I want to say shout out to Aurora. One of the cool things about Aurora is the team play, the combination in offense, the balanced attack, and a rotated squad. So maybe the hindrance of that, Dani, is you don't get so much standout of someone scoring 16 goals, right? But it was cool to see that Kenzie Langock. There's a bit of fan vote, a bit of, I think, coach and league vote. But Kenzie Langock was second in Player of the Year, which well earned. I mean, what a leader for the team, and she'd probably hope that she gets a 25-yard banger today.
Oh, for sure. Wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah, we're all hoping for that. But no, I also want to say, so Tormenta got Player of the Year, Golden Boot, and Golden Glove.
Yeah.
And then Minnesota Aurora as Coach of the Year, and then Kenzie Langock, as you said, for Player of the Year runner-up. So, as both teams really are highlighted in some really special ways, it's very fitting that both of them have made it to the championship game. I think it'll be a really good game.
Yeah, those awards are nice. I'm sure what the players and the coaches want is the award, the trophy down there. And one other question I have to ask Dani: when's your R&B album dropping with this sick fit on this track jacket? Dani, she dropped me. She used to work at Nike, so it's just some stuff about having some Nike gear on.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
I was also a Nike athlete, so this is actually
shoes. What'd you get mostly? Shoes. What other? You get some other gear?
Cleats. Yeah, other gear. This is one of them.
Yeah, tight.
So,
you still got it. Nice.
Yeah.
That is sweet.
Hang on. I feel like this is a good piece.
Soon to be vintage.
Yeah.
That's when you save for the boy. Save for your son.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
My mom was under contract. You know what it is. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. We're looking forward to the game. Follow the stream for some highlights and post-game content. See ya. I'll see you at the bar.